show you how to make this super cute hat that would be perfect for Valentine's Day, but really I think it would be cute year-round. So it's got these cute little popcorn stitches that look like hearts and this lacy detail at the top. This design is worked from the band at the bottom up to the crown. So that is how we will start. And just as a side note, the written pattern has 3 sizes included. So if you wanted to make like a mommy and me set or whatever, there's 2 more sizes in the written pattern, and I'll link that in the description box below. For this tutorial, I will be using a 5.5mm hook or whatever you need to use to meet gauge. It is very important, and that's also in the description box. You're also going to need 2 colors of any size 4 worsted weight yarn. The first color you're going to start with is the main color and then the accent color. I'm going to be using this blush pink. So for the band, you're going to start by making a chain of 8. This will be worked in the row, so we're going to turn and we're going to single crochet in the second chain from your hook and in each stitch across for a total of 7 single crochet. Now we are going to chain 1 and turn for row 2. In the very first stitch, you're going to go through both loops like you normally would. So you're going to make a single crochet in that first stitch through both loops. And then for the next 5 stitches, you're going to be working in the back loops. So it's this loop back here. And you're going to make a single crochet in the back loop in the next 5 stitches. When you get to the last stitch, you're going to go through both loops again. And just single crochet in the last stitch. This is what it should look like. So you're going to make a single crochet through both loops in the first and last stitches, and the rest of the stitches will be through the back loops as a rule of thumb. So now we're just going to repeat that last row until you have a total of 66 rows. So single crochet both loops first stitch, single crochet through the back loops in the next 5 stitches. And then through both loops of the last stitch, make the last single crochet. You're just going to repeat that until you have 66 rows, and once you do that, I will meet you back here. So here I have 66 rows. You're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to join them together to make the band. So being careful not to twist your band here, bring the first and last rows so that they meet. Now this isn't really all that important, but you'll see I'm going through both loops in the first stitch and then through the back loop on the other side. You can do outer loops, you can slip stitch through all, it really doesn't matter. Now for the rest of them, in the 5 stitches in the middle, I'm going through the outer loops. But again, it's really not a big deal. I'm just trying to make it look more like the rest of the ribbing. But you do whatever you're comfortable with. It's really not going to show up that much. Okay, now you're going to flip your band so that the right side is out. And then we're going to switch colors. We're going to switch colors without fastening off. So essentially, I'm just going to pull the new color through my working loop, and then I'm going to tighten the old color really tightly, and then we're not carrying it, we're just sort of leaving it to the side. So for round one, we're going to chain one, and then you're going to single crochet in each row around. So if you remember, we made 66 rows. It's really important for the stitch pattern to work that you still have 66 stitches. So definitely stop and count at the end of this row to make sure that you still only have 66 stitches. And I'll meet you there. Now we're going to join with an invisible slip stitch. So I'm taking my working yarn to the back, removing my hook from the loop, inserting my hook from back to front in that first stitch, sliding the loop through to the back. And that just helps hide the seam a whole lot better. Now we're going to switch back to the other color that we were using. So I basically just swap them out, and I'm pulling the old color through my working loop and then just tightening that pink color there. We're not fastening off, we're just setting it aside. For round two, you're going to chain one, and you're going to single crochet through these back loops here that I'm showing you. Just like you did for the band, we're going to be making a single crochet in the back loops only of each stitch around. Again, it's very important that you have 66 stitches for the stitch pattern to work. So be sure to stop and count and make sure that you have 66 stitches at the end of this round. And I'll meet you at the end. Now we are going to join with a regular slip stitch because we're going to continue on using this same color. Chain 3. And we are going to skip the stitch that we joined in and single crochet in the next 5 stitches. I am working through both loops of these stitches. Okay, now we're going to chain 2 and skip 1. So we're skipping the next stitch, and we're going to make a single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So you're just going to repeat this stitch pattern all the way around. You're going to chain 2, skip 1 stitch, and single crochet in the next 5 stitches. And you're just going to repeat that all the way around. So just repeat that stitch pattern all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. So here we are at the end. We are switching colors without fastening off. You're going to slip stitch through that chain 3 space that we started with our new color. And then of course you're just going to want to tighten the old color like I'm showing you. Now we're going to chain 2, and this chain 2 will not count as a stitch. In that first chain 3 space, we are going to make a popcorn, which is 3 double crochet. So go ahead and make 3 doubles. Some popcorns have more doubles, but for this project, it's just 3. So you're going to do 3 doubles, and then you're going to remove your hook from your loop, and you're going to put your hook from front to back in our very first stitch. So this is our very first double crochet. You're going to put your hook through there, and then you're going to go from behind and put your working loop on your hook and pull it to the front. When you are making your popcorn, it's really important that the posts of the double crochet are pushed forward because that's what gives the heart shape. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to make another popcorn in that same chain space. And again, that is 3 double crochet. Then you're going to remove your hook from your working loop, insert it into the first double crochet from front to back. And then going from behind your stitches, you're going to put your working loop on your hook and draw it to the front. And again, push those posts forward so that they pop forward. That is our first heart. Now we are going to chain 4 and skip those 5 single crochet below. And we're going to work into the next chain 2 space right here. You're going to make another popcorn, chain 1 popcorn in that chain space. So essentially each little chain 2 space around is going to have a heart, which is made by these popcorns and separated by chain 1 space there. So there's our first popcorn. Chain 1 and make another popcorn in that same chain 2 space below. Now we're going to chain 4, skip 5, and just repeat this process. It's really easy. So in the next chain 2 space, you're going to make a popcorn, chain 1, popcorn, and then separate it from the next heart group by a chain 4. So you'll just repeat that, a popcorn, chain 1, popcorn, followed by a chain 4 space. You're just going to repeat that all the way to the end, and I'll meet you there. So here we are at the end. I've got my popcorn, chain 1 popcorn, followed by my chain 4, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the very first popcorn here. And then we are going to slip stitch into that chain 1 space between the popcorn, but we're going to do it with our new color. So we're going to switch to the other color and slip stitch through that chain 1 space. So now we're going to chain 1 and single crochet into that chain 1 space. Chain 1. Now we're going to work around that chain 4 there and into the skipped single crochet 2 rows below. So we're going to work into that 3rd single crochet in the middle, and we are going to, like I said, crochet around the chain 4 above. So we are going to make an extended double crochet. So that's basically yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over and draw through 1 loop only, and then you're going to yarn over and draw through 2 loops twice. Essentially, we are extending the double crochet by chaining 1 at the base. So if you can remember that, it's basically a regular double crochet with a chain 1 at the beginning. So now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to make another extended double crochet in that same stitch down below. Again, that's yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 1 loop only, there's our chain stitch, yarn over, draw through 2 loops twice. That's our double crochet. It should look like a V. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to jump to the chain space between the popcorn stitches. And we're going to make a single crochet in that chain space. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to make our extended double crochet, chain 2, extended double crochet down into that 3rd single crochet. So there's our first extended double crochet, then we're going to chain 2 and make another extended double crochet down into that same stitch. Now we're going to chain 1, single crochet between the next 2 popcorn. So you're just going to repeat the stitch pattern to the end. Okay, so you'll have a single crochet in that chain space between the popcorn. Then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to make your extended double crochet, chain 2, extended double crochet down into that third single crochet 2 rounds below. Then you're going to chain 1 and continue repeating that all the way around. So I will meet you at the end. So here we are at the end. We're going to join with an invisible slip stitch. You should end with that chain 1 there at the end, and then you're going to take your working yarn to the back, remove your hook from your working yarn, insert your hook from back to front into the first stitch, and pull your working loop through to the back. We're going to switch our colors without fastening off. So draw up a loop with your new color and tighten the old color like I'm showing you here. Now we are going to chain 4, and we're going to skip over to the chain 2 space there in between our extended doubles. You're going to make a popcorn, chain 1, popcorn, all in that chain 2 space. This is very similar to round 4. Okay, now we're going to chain 4, and we're going to skip all the other stitches until we get to the next chain 2 space. And we're going to do it again. Popcorn, chain 1 popcorn in that chain 2 space. So you're just going to repeat this process to the end. You're going to make your popcorn, chain 1 popcorn in all the chain 2 spaces, and then separate those hearts by a chain 4 space. So once you do that, I'll meet you at the end. So here we are at the end. We are going to slip stitch into the last 3 chains of our beginning chain. You're going to be working in the back loops of those last 3 chain stitches. And then once you do that, you're going to slip stitch into the first popcorn. And now we're going to switch colors again, and we're going to slip stitch with our new color through that chain 1 space. And then you're just going to tighten the old color. Now we're going to chain 1 and single crochet in that chain space, just like we did before. This is going to be a bit trickier. This is the hardest round, so if you can get through it, you will be fine. We are going to be working 2 rounds below. We're going to chain 1, and then we are going to work down into these chain 1 spaces I'm showing you here. So if you remember, we did a chain 1 space in between that single crochet there. So we are going to be working down into this chain 1 space and this chain 1 space. But we're also going to be working around the posts of these extended doubles right here. So we're going to work around that chain 4 like before, and you're going to double crochet into that chain one space 2 rounds below. It's just a regular double crochet. Now, this is the most complicated stitch. We are going to decrease over these extended doubles below. So that's yarn over, insert your hook around that post. You're going to yarn over and draw up a loop. And this is going to be an extended double. So you're just going to yarn over, draw through that first loop only. Then you're going to yarn over and draw through 2 loops only. And then you're going to stop. And we're going to repeat this process to the other side. So going to that next extended double, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook around that post, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 1 loop only, yarn over, draw through 2 loops only. And this is where we are going to bring it all together right here. There's 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and draw through all 3 loops, and this is decreasing. So we're making those 2 stitches into 1. And as you can see, it makes this really pretty point. Now, we have got to push that stitch that we just made out of the way because we need to make 1 more double crochet down into that chain 1 space there. But we want it to be behind the stitch that we just made. So you're going to have to kind of hold it out of your way, and you're going to make a double crochet in that chain 1 space right there. Again, this is just a regular double crochet. And this is what it should look like. If you look at the back, this is what it should look like. You see those double crochet down into those chain 1 spaces back there? And of course, they're separated by this decrease right here. So a double crochet, decrease, double crochet, that's all that is. Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet into that chain space between the popcorn. We're going to chain 1 again and double crochet down into that chain 1 space below. Now this next stitch is technically called a front post extended double crochet decrease. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook around the front post, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 1 loop only, yarn over, draw through 2 loops only, stop, yarn over, insert your hook around the post of the next extended double, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 1 loop only, yarn over, draw through 2 loops only, yarn over, draw through the last 3 loops on your hook. Now we're going to work behind that stitch again so that we can get into that chain 1 space back there, and you're going to make a regular double crochet into that chain 1 space. Now we're going to chain 1 and make a single crochet in the chain space between the 2 popcorn stitches. So you're just going to repeat this pattern all the way till you get to the end, making your single crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the chain 1 space 2 rounds below, make your decrease over the post of the EDCs, making a double crochet in the chain 1 space back there behind that decrease you just made, and another chain 1. So you're just going to continue repeating this process all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. This is what you should have as far as stitch counts. Don't forget the last chain 1 of the round. It's really easy to do, but we are going to need that chain 1 space for our stitch counts. Now we're going to join with a normal slip stitch. We're going to keep this color. So we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to put 1/2 double crochet into every stitch and every chain space around. So I'm just going to show you a few. Don't forget these chain 1 spaces right here. And then this chain 1 space right here. Just make sure you're not skipping those chain 1 spaces. At the end of this round, you should definitely stop and count. Make sure that you have 66 half double crochet at the end of this round, because if you don't, there's a really good chance that you either skipped a chain 1 space on this round or you forgot to make a chain 1 space on the last round. So just be very careful that you have the right number. And I will meet you at the end. So here we are going to join with an invisible slip stitch. And we are going to switch colors again. We are not fastening off, we're just dropping the old color. You're going to pick up the new color and then tighten the old color. Now for round 9, you're going to chain 1, and I wanted to show you, we will be working into what's called the third loops of the half double crochet. So if you're looking at it, here's the front loop, here's the back loop, and if you fold it towards you, there's a loop parallel to the back loop. That is the third loop. So we are going to be picking up this third loop and working through there. So you're going to make a half double crochet in the third loop of every stitch around, and you're going to be pushing the tops of your stitches towards you. And that is what gives it this really nice texture. So you can see this texture here. It looks really nice. Again, you should have 66 stitches. Make sure you stop and count. Again, we're going to join with an invisible slip stitch. And at this point, we are finished with this accent color. So I'm going to go ahead and fasten off this color. I do recommend that you go ahead and weave in your tails for this color. And we're going to just continue in the main color. You're going to be working in the third loops again. Again, that's these loops back here. So insert your hook into the first stitch in the third loop and draw up the old color. Now we're going to chain 1 and work 1 single crochet into the third loop of every stitch around. You should still have 66 stitches, and I'll meet you at the end. Now you're going to join with a normal slip stitch. You're going to chain 1 and turn for round 11. We're going to begin a different stitch pattern. You're going to make a single crochet followed by 2 double crochet, all in the same stitch. So again, it should be 3 stitches, all in that first stitch. Single crochet and 2 doubles. So now we are going to skip 2 stitches and do it again. Make a single crochet and 2 doubles in the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches, make a single crochet and 2 double crochet in the next stitch. You're just going to continue this stitch pattern, skipping 2 stitches followed by a single and 2 doubles in the next, all the way till you get to the end. And again, you should still only have 66 stitches. I will meet you at the end. So here we are, we're skipping our last 2 stitches and we're going to slip stitch into the first single crochet of our round. For round 12, we will chain 1 and turn. It's very important that you remember to turn. Now, I will say you could stop here and have a really cute ear warmer. I think it would be super cute, but I'm going to continue on to show you the rest of the hat. So we're going to be working slightly backwards into the last single crochet made of the last round. So we're going to be working slightly backwards, and this is going to actually help hide our turning chain. So you're going to make a single crochet and 2 double crochet into that single crochet back there. And then we're going to skip 2 stitches and work a single crochet and 2 doubles in the next stitch. By the way, these clusters of stitches should all be in the single crochet from the round below. That's what gives it the texture. So you should be skipping the 2 doubles and working your single crochet and 2 doubles into the next stitch. So you're just going to repeat that just like before all the way around, and again you should still have 66 stitches. So just continue doing that and I'll meet you at the end. So here we are skipping our last 2 stitches and making a slip stitch into the very first single crochet. So for rounds 13, 14, and 15, we're just going to repeat that last round. So we want 5 rounds of our stitch pattern. So we already have 2 here, like I'm showing you here. So you're just going to repeat the last round 3 more times, or until it measures the correct length. So here I'm showing you I have 5 rounds of the stitch pattern, and it should be about 7 inches long or 18 centimeters long. If not, you need to add or subtract those repeating rounds accordingly. Now we're going to start decreasing. So we're going to skip those last 2 stitches and slip stitch to join like we normally would. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're still kind of trying to keep the same look that we have. So instead of making the 2 doubles, we're going to make a cluster. So we're going to work slightly backwards, making our single crochet and our cluster. A cluster is basically 2 doubles that we've turned into 1 stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and then just repeat that. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, draw through 2. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, draw through all 3. So we just have 2 stitches, but it looks like we still have 3 because we made that cluster. So skip 2 stitches, single crochet, cluster in the next stitch. Essentially, you are starting to double crochet but not finishing them, if that makes sense. So there's 1 double crochet halfway made. Now we're going to make another double crochet halfway. And then we're just going to combine them. So skip 2 stitches, make a single crochet and a cluster. Skip 2 stitches, make a single crochet cluster. You're just going to repeat this process all the way around, only this time you should have 44 stitches since we have decreased. Now we're going to join with a slip stitch. And for round 17, we will chain 1 and turn. Working slightly backwards, just like we have been, you're going to make a single crochet and a cluster in that first stitch. Now we're going to skip the next stitch and make a single crochet in the next. We're omitting the cluster. Now we're going to skip the next stitch and make a single crochet cluster. We're going to skip the next stitch, make a single crochet. Skip the next stitch, make a single crochet cluster. Skip the next stitch, make a single crochet. So you're just going to repeat this stitch pattern all the way till you get to the end. And at the end of this round, you should have 33 stitches. So here I wanted to show you, you should be skipping a stitch and your last stitch should be a single crochet and then skipping that stitch. And you're going to join into the first stitch with a slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn for round 18. You're going to work slightly backwards and make a single crochet cluster in that stitch. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches and we are going to single crochet 2 together over those 2 single crochet that are side by side. So we're decreasing. And then in that very same stitch, you're going to make a cluster. Now we're just going to skip 1 stitch and we're going to single crochet 2 together. So those 2 singles that are side by side, you're going to decrease over those. And then in that very same stitch, you're going to make a cluster. Skip the next stitch, single crochet 2 together, cluster. You should see the stitch pattern that's forming. You're just going to continue repeating this all the way around. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 22 stitches. So here we are at the end. You're just going to skip the last stitch and slip stitch to join. Now for round 19, you're just going to keep the right side facing. So if you did an extra one or whatever, you just want the right side of the hat facing. We're going to chain 2 and that will not count. And then you're just going to double crochet 2 together 10 times. So once you have done that 10 times, you should have 2 stitches left over. You're just going to make 1 double crochet in each of those last 2 stitches. The goal is to have 12 double crochet at the end of this round. Then you're just going to slip stitch to join and fasten off, leaving yourself a long tail. We're going to use that to cinch the top of it shut. So using a yarn needle, you're going to whip stitch into the front loops only of the last round. So just watch me carefully. These are the front loops that I'm going through. So you're just going to do this in all 12 stitches of the last round. And that's just going to make it really easy for us to be able to cinch the top of the hat shut. So once you've got all 12, you'll just pull real tight, and then you're going to take that tail inside and weave it in really good. And I personally like to use this extra tail to sew my pom-pom button on. This gives my customers instructions to not wash the pom-pom. I like to just add some yarn to the elastic loop so that they can put it back through the hat themselves. So they just poke it through the top, pull it through, and then wrap the elastic around the button. And that helps them to be able to get it on and off there. So just add your tag and blow dry your pom-pom, and you are done. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.